Live.
Oh, just like that.
Did you see that?
That was very flash.
Yes. Guys, you are in for a treat tonight. We have got, Mark and I refer to you, Leanne, as Madam President from the Real Estate Institute of New South Wales, fresh from a holiday in Port Douglas.
Yep.
We've got Leanne joining us tonight. How are you?
I am fabulous, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Pleasure. Thanks for coming on board. We really appreciate it. We know you're a very, very busy lady, although well rested.
You know that? Yes, that's right. Well rested. Very well rested.
But we appreciate it.
You know what? Last time we were online, it was, I think, a lot more stressful for everyone. It was in the heat, in the heart, in the high question, in the worst part of COVID. So I think you look a bit more relaxed.
I feel a bit more relaxed too, but how resilient are we as an industry?
Yeah.
Like, honestly, it was panic stations there for a while, and understandably so, but everybody, I don't know, I was just so impressed with the way that the industry handled the whole situation. It's been incredible.
I agree. You know what, Leanne, we are a resilient bunch, you know. I mean, look, COVID, I think, is pretty much as you know, bad as it gets, that sort of global pandemic. But there's always something in our industry, isn't there? There's a recession or, you know, financing's tricky, or there's no stock, or there's no buyers. There's always something going on.
Yeah, that's so true. It's never easy.
Aussies should be really proud. I think how everyone's conducted themselves and kept to their commitments. You know, their rent and their mortgages and their businesses and their works. I think we've been a resilient bunch. I was just looking at the arrears report, which sounds very boring, but the arrears report today going back on the last 6 months, and the last 30 days has just been, you know, more than back to normal with people with arrears and things like that. So it's going well.
Good.
Yeah, that's great. I love to hear that. Well done.
Yeah.
Really good. But Leanne, we've asked you to come on tonight because there's a new word that has been ripping through our industry. Yeah. We thought we'd just pull it apart a little bit. It's called off-market.
Uh-huh.
It's been around for a long time, but it seems to be very, very prevalent.
You bought off-market.
I did. The house that I live in, my husband and I have been here for 25 years, and we literally did buy off-market from a very good friend at the time, David Eden, who is still a real estate agent up on the Northern Beaches, in fact. But we literally were off-market because we'd been looking around for quite some time, and David said, you know what, I actually think that you guys might like this house that I know in Glenhaven. It's been off the market for a while, but let me call. He called. We came and had a look at it. We loved it. We bought it. It was off market. It was never promoted anywhere at any time. And that's the key, right? No promotion anywhere.
Yeah. And that is the key. So a couple of weeks ago, I was mentioning to you just before we came on, Mark and I actually did a little segment on off-market. And I looked up what the definition of off-market was. Yeah. And the definition is no public advertising.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's exactly how you purchased.
That's exactly how we purchased. Back in the good old days when real estate agents...
That's still, you were still a member of the public.
How's that?
Yeah.
You were still a member of the public, and he picked up the phone and he called somebody from the public.
Okay, but that's still, you know, as we know it, or as we should know it, that is still, I mean, you've got to have some communication with a buyer to be able to get the deal done.
Otherwise, you're not going to have a deal, right?
Yeah, well, that's right. You don't have a buyer, you don't have a deal.
Well, that's it. But where's the line? Because, you know, technically that is a member of the public. And
there's no promotion, I think, is the key. For me, anyway, the key is that there's no promotion anywhere. And so this was just a real estate agent who knew his market really well, who knew what his buyer needed really well, and made a phone call, didn't then put it on the market in any way, shape or form, didn't promote it in any way, shape or form.
Okay, so no signboard?
No promotion.
No signboard?
No, God, no. No promotion at all.
Because again, I think there's some confusion in the industry, and look, we're not here to say whether it's right or wrong.
A phone call's not a promotion.
No, not when you're just matching that one buyer with that one property that was never coming to market, that was never getting a signboard, that was never getting any social media, that was never getting any advertisement of any kind. Like,
listen to your wife, huh?
Hey?
Listen to your wife.
Yeah, that's right. I'm going to smack him.
Yes, good.
So, Leanne, you tell me what's going on in the industry. What do you think? What's going on?
Well,
Why?
you're right. There is
Why? Yeah.
Why is you're probably to blame, my friend?
Me or Mark?
No, you.
Oh, me. Okay.
Yeah, because you are using your social media so effectively to sell property, and so people are going, oh well, it's off market. We'll just share it with our VIP list. And there's been, there are a lot of websites, a lot of agents' websites around that have that facility to only promote property or to only let you unlock the property if you are a member of their VIP list and all of that sort of stuff. And so they're saying that that's off market, but it's actually not. It's a preview, or it's a pre-market, or it's whatever you want to call it. We should decide tonight what we're going to call it moving forward, and then we can just tell everybody.
You know what? Yes. I think if we decide, I think the public's definitely going to decide. But if we nail this tonight, we know it's never going to be forgotten. If we get a name out tonight, because I think it's almost there, it's almost ready. And we've been talking about non-traditional marketing. That starts to get, when you're talking with someone who's not real estate centric and they're selling their place and you say non-traditional, what does that mean? Well, your traditional is your realestate.com.au, your domain.com.au, your newspaper, your website. Your non-traditional is what? That's when it starts going over to that instant media, that digital media that we're doing. And that's really interesting. What's the word going to be, guys? What's the word going to be?
Look, I use the word pre-market. So, look, I'm guilty. Okay, when I came into sales 2.5 years ago, Leanne, I was using off-market because I was like, well, if it's not on the real estate portals, it's off-market, but it's not. And it took me a little while to get my head around it. But now I'm absolutely certain, for me, the word that I use that people seem to understand is a pre-market. So we're always going to the real estate portals, but they've got this pre-market opportunity to be able to buy property. And I think this is where the confusion is, because the industry's saying, well, if it's not sitting on the real estate portals, it's off market. But it's not, because it's maybe on another portal called social media, or it may have a signboard out the front.
Well, it's marketed.
You did market it,
You're marketing it. Let's pre-market.
Pre-market, is that it? Are you calling it?
I'm calling it. I'm writing it.
It's too early to call it because we actually had, it's been spoken about a lot in the office. And then the team, there was pre-market and there was pre-marketing.
Yeah.
So pre-marketing, prior to that public arena, I think, and Lisa, you've said this well, there is no, for an agent to ring their database and to tell or to email all their buyers, there's no
that's
big
it's doing your job. Like
that's doing your job.
That's doing your job. That's doing your job. Yeah. That's not doing anything. As an agent, what are you doing over and above that? Because ringing your database, I consider, is just doing your job. Totally. But I'm interested to know, like, what is the industry doing over and above that? But you know what I think? Here's what I think.
What do you think?
Innovation is ripping through the industry now, which is great. It's wonderful. And I believe that a big part of this is because of COVID. And I'm calling it the Innovation Boot Camp, which is really what it has been for our industry. You only need to look at our friends down in Melbourne who are in real estate.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you are as well, Leanne, but I must be getting contacted about 30 to 40 times a day by agents saying, can you help me? Can you help me with my social media? What do we do? And I'm calling out saying, guys, here to help. There has been nothing that has innovated our industry faster and has given it a good kick up the butt more than COVID.
I call it we've been waiting for disruption, right, for a really long time in the industry. What's the model that's going to disrupt us? What's the technology that's going to disrupt us?
Yeah.
For me, it's COVID has been the disruptor, because it's made us all have to relook at what we're doing and innovate.
Well, all our
100%.
innovation tentacles just went out and grabbed anything they could to help, you know what I mean, very, very quickly. And it was like, I've got to learn this. You know, Zoom, for instance, is just something that how much more comfortable are us three over a video conference. Like that just exploded. Whereas even just to ask people, that was almost like a weird question.
I know.
6 months ago.
It was. And still, you know, I do a lot of video, and that's your fault because you guys were the ones that made me do my first Facebook Live back at Tanger's conference. Remember that?
And, by the harbour there in Darling Harbour.
Yeah, that was my first Facebook Live.
You're now off and running. But you know what it is? Sorry, I think I cut you off there. Go on.
And so, but I've still got a lot of salespeople who are really uncomfortable doing video, and so I go around to my franchise offices with my little halo light and my iPhone, and just talk to them about what's going on in their market. And after we do it, they're like, "Oh, that was so easy." It's like, "Yep, doesn't have to be complicated. You don't have to freak yourself out about it. You just have to do it, right?"
That's it. And the thing is that agents hold so much information that the public don't know.
Yeah.
Right? And so, again, there's never been a better time to be able to get this information out to the public about all sorts of stuff. I mean, I'm fascinated to know what is going on if you're an agent down in Melbourne. Are you selling? What do you do with your days? How do you fill those days up? How do you keep yourself motivated? Document it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Document it. I mean, if I was an agent right now down in Victoria, I swear to you, I would be documenting and journaling my day. I'd be doing the diary of a real estate agent in lockdown.
Yeah, absolutely. You heard it here first, people. Make it happen.
100%. You know, put yourself out there, put yourself in front of the camera and help people, inform people.
And it's interesting because it is interesting because there were 298 properties that went up for auction on Saturday in Melbourne. Obviously, the numbers are low, but still, that's almost 300 people who wanted to. Yeah, I know. And they had a 73% preliminary clearance rate, which is really strong, and only 18% of people withdrew prior to auction, which is so much less than what we saw with the original shutdown that we had a couple of months ago. So I think people are sort of realising that, you know, the world is going to continue past the lockdown, you know.
C2.
Yes, exactly.
C3 and then C4 and then C5.
Well, that's
sadly we're going to
refer back like that.
Yeah, and that's the reality. You know, we will just get better and better and better at managing it. We are. I mean, look at us here in New South Wales. So rather than going into a lockdown with the, you know, C2 stage that we're in here in New South Wales, we've just gotten better at managing that. So it's like, don't go here. That's where the COVID cases were on the weekend. You know, if you were there, you've got to isolate yourself. So we've just gotten better and better at managing it. Now we're just very happy to give out our details everywhere we go. It's normal. Sit down and have write down your email address, your mobile phone, and your name.
Or the QR code.
Oh, the QR code. I love the QR code.
Yeah, I love the QR. It's a bit like the Zoom as well. Like everyone's wasn't familiar with that. Now they went from QR codes. They've been trying to get QR codes up and off the ground for probably 15 years.
Yeah.
And then now it's like the pennies drop.
Yeah.
But I think also, you know, I don't know tonight, anyone who's just joined, we're talking about off market, and we're seeing it absolutely everywhere at the moment. I think what's really interesting is when you start blending in what we've learned in COVID and when you learn the technology and how fast we're moving to do anything these days, I think the property market's compressing very quickly as well to sell a property. And I'd love us to use this. This is like we had this conversation because Lisa and I have been saying, Madam President, Lisa and I have been saying the days to get a property on the market have blown out to an extraordinarily long amount of time, even before it gets on the market to go to auction. And allow us to give you an example. Before, you know, if someone walked through your door, they want to sell, you put the property in the window and you wait and you talk to someone on the phone. That's how business was done. it started getting much more complicated and much more elaborate. We started furnishing properties. We started doing floor plans for properties. We started doing these slow walking videos that went into production for a week before they could even come out. Then the agent wanted to hold everything back and then launch it all at once on realestate.com. And then there was newspaper deadlines, and then there was an auction campaign of 4 weeks. So we actually got really complicated when the owner was just going, look, I just want to sell the place. And the buyer was saying, I just want to have a look through. And if you ask the owner if it was okay to sell their place, sure. Even if we haven't got the production ready, bring them through. Buyer, we want to go straight away before anything else. So it's really interesting that COVID and this use of technology and what's happening at the moment is like rapid fire. If you want food, bang. If you want Amazon's gone bananas, something to your doorstep, bang. I think property, and call it off market or whatever the word's going to be that we're talking about tonight, that's going to be the catalyst of how quick we get shit done properly.
And so this is what it's about. I mean, you know, it is about this. As I said, we're kind of stuck now because innovation has ripped through our industry now quite quickly because it's been forced to. And the industry, it's about the industry now trying to keep up with how fast innovation's ripping through. And I think this is where we've got this word, that this umbrella term that the industry seems to be using, called off market, for the reason Mark just mentioned. I can get you in before anyone else because it's all about speed. That's what it's all about. And as Mark said, doing the professional, big Hollywood style video and the beautiful photo shoot with the virtual furniture all styled, perfect is slow. Getting things perfect actually takes a long time these days, believe it or not. And buyers don't mind. They're happy to see the non-perfect, authentic property on your phone, straight on your social media channels, without all the bells and whistles. Just get me in the door first. I'm happy, and I'll pay a premium for it, like we do for an Uber, Leanne. And I often refer to that. You know, if you see, the Uber will be here in 15 minutes. I could pay an extra few bucks and it could be here in 3. You'll take it.
But I also think you nailed it with the word authentic. People are really looking for that authentic experience, right? They don't want the perfect. They don't want everything to be glossed over. They want to see it as it really is. And that's what you can do on social media, right?
100%. You can do it your way. You can do it. Look, there's still I like to think that my videos are still reasonably professional. They're certainly not Hollywood productions, and I don't want them to be, but they give the buyer the raw, authentic version of what that property looks like.
They give people a sense of the property, right? A sense of the environment and the community and exactly what it is that property offers.
That word authentic is such a powerful word, because if I'm buying something as a consumer, now people are buying real estate services, they are buying an agent to sell their place, they are buying a property. If you are buying authentic, that's powerful, because I don't want to buy a fake. I don't want to buy a fake pro. I don't want to buy so that's a really, really big one. So if that helps agents get the message out, the authenticity of a product or a service that we offer, that's big.
It's huge. It's huge. And I was actually speaking with a buyer earlier on, just before we came on, and she said to me, is this exactly how the property looks? Because I don't want you wasting my time.
Yeah, right.
But that's true. That is that authenticity, right? Because there must be nothing more frustrating as a buyer than they see these beautiful photos online and they rock up at the property and it's like, this is not at all what it was meant to be.
Yeah, exactly. Because, we know that photography can really paint a beautiful picture, but a social media video that you've just done on your phone, it shows it like it is.
Authentic.
Yeah, 100%. So what do you reckon? What do you think's going on in the industry? Where do you reckon this word? Why is this word being so overused at the moment? What are your thoughts,
Madam President?
Because unfortunately, in real estate, we tend to copy each other, and so we see somebody doing off market, and then it's like, oh, we better do it too. And then all of a sudden, you've got websites that you can have a look at the property, but it's blurred, right? The photo's blurred unless you are a VIP member, if you're part of the database. And so everybody thinks, oh, actually, that's a good idea. I'm going to do that too. And all of a sudden, we're all doing the same thing yet again. So, I think we need to be clear, off-market transactions absolutely happen, but off-market transactions are not transactions that you are promoting on social media. They're not transactions that you are promoting anywhere. They don't have a signboard. They don't, they are transactions like happened when I bought my house. A really good real estate agent that knows the market really well can see what a buyer is really looking for and make that phone call when a property is not even on the market saying, hey, Leanne, I actually think I've got somebody who would love your property. Would you be thinking about selling it if that was the case?
Spot on. So we're calling it. We're going to call it now, Leanne.
Yep, okay.
We're going to say, right, from this moment forward,
yep,
we will refer to it as?
Pre-market.
Pre-market.
Pre-market. Yeah. Or pre-marketing.
Yeah, I love it.
I think we can do both, Mark. Pre-market, pre-marketing, it's the same. What? He's not happy. What's wrong?
Why?
What do you want to call it? Not that you're in charge here. Just checking.
No, that's right. You got two women here. This is not going to go well for you.
Well said.
This is not going to go well for you at all.
Exactly. But I would like to know what you think, though.
I think it's as close as we can get it for now.
Yeah.
And I think
anything else the community don't understand.
It's confusing, but I think you know what? It's a bit like the QR code, right? Yeah. You knew the purpose, you knew what it was doing, you knew it was great, but it just didn't bite. And then now you've seen the QR code bite, and you're going, I don't have that aha moment with pre-market where I'm going.
Well, do you prefer preview?
Nah.
Nah.
But I do know that when it bites, when it happens like rapid fire, we are embarking upon that authentic, that speed, that convenience, where a digital sale gets done, a multimedia digital sale gets done real quick, authentic, at a really good price. Buyers paying absolute premium for it.
Correct.
That's going to be a really exciting place. And if we can nail it tonight, sure, but Jez, it's a hard one. Yeah?
Look, I think the important thing to note, whatever it is that we're going to call it, I will continue until further notice to be calling my stock pre-market, right? I have been. It works well. People understand it.
It makes sense. And that's the point, right? People understand it.
And listen, I've done the hard. No, that's right. But you know what, Leanne? I've done the hard work for the industry today. In many respects, because believe you me, I've sat in front of many people and called this many different things, and people were like, sorry, I don't really understand what that means. Until I got to the pre-market, people were like, oh, okay. You can see the penny drop.
Yeah, I think pre-market makes sense. It's clear.
Maybe we've got to dumb it down a little bit for the community and for sellers. And call it off market, or even though it's not coined correctly, or pre-market, even if it's not coined to get, but it's
pre-market they get, because we're great as an industry at naming things that no one else understands except people in real estate, right?
Yeah,
and I don't know if I'm going to get shot down by other agents for this, but I always say to Mark that it's really
they're basically not even on the market, said John.
They're basically not even on the market.
Yeah.
And look, Emmy Callister, the legend, she says, how about exclusively listed on social media?
So we do use that actually. So a lot of our photos are actually tagged on our website with exclusive to Facebook. Because those photos don't look as amazing as if they were going onto the real estate portals, and we feel that requires an explanation to the public. So we do say exclusive only to social media. However, that's wonderful for people like me and any other agents that are doing lots and lots on social media. But if you're not, and you're a traditional type agent who's just using your signboard and your database and dabbling in other areas, that's not going to work.
I would still think though, if you've got a signboard, that's not pre-marketing to me. Silent listing. That's what we used to call it in the old days, a silent listing.
Yes.
Listing.
I think it's Cunningham's used the terminology on the quiet. That's another one. But then I think, you know what, and look, there's no right or wrong here, right? We're turning this around because the industry is kind of stuck at the moment, which is a wonderful thing because we're changing. but it's not on the quiet if it's on a signboard in front of the property. And
I just think pre-marketing is logical, right? This is what we're doing before we actually go to the market actively and spend your money.
Pre-market.
I said pre-market or pre-marketing. Oh, look, I don't think we need to get too specific. I think we can use both.
This could potentially be used millions and millions and millions of times.
Can I put a little copyright thing on that? I'd love to.
Good luck.
Listen, when I'm
listing from Kristen, I like that.
Social listing. Social listing.
Oh, that's cool. I like that. But maybe when I'm retired, we could call it like the Lisa Novak pre-market strategy or something. I don't know. Remember me by it.
Oh, the Lisa Novak strategy.
Because, again, as an industry, we get caught up on using terms that the public don't really understand.
Totally.
Like when we say, we had X amount of contracts go out and, 200 buyers came through and 3 open homes and 60 contracts. I don't believe that the public actually understand that because they can't quantify it.
Yeah. And I'm not even sure how many of them understand what a listing is, right? That's our terminology. What's a listing?
Absolutely spot on.
No, but it's true. Like we almost need to do a segment on what does this terminology mean. Really?
The agent terminology that doesn't make sense to the public. Yeah, that's what we need to do on.
It's a whole language all of its own. It is, really.
What are the takeaways? What are the nuggets from tonight that we're going to finish off on, ladies? We're going to say pre-market or pre-marketing is probably as close as us 3 can agree.
Yep. Leanne, it's over to you. I mean, you are the president of the Real Estate Institute of New South Wales. Leanne's throwing the hammer down on it.
All right. I think. Look, I'm okay. I think the change pre-market. Oh, pre-social. Well, it's not pre-social though, is it?
Goes under social. We've got pre.
Can I just tell you a funny story, Leanne? Just before we vote on this. I get so many people now contacting me saying, Lisa, please let me know before it goes onto your social media, because sometimes those properties are launched out to my social media channels and they're sold, within hours.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of guys are now saying, let me know before it goes out.
They all should be auctions to me, but anyway, just saying.
Auction?
Yeah. I said they all should be auctions. If they're selling so fast, maybe you should auction them.
Cheap.
Hey, auction's slow.
It is. Yeah, it is. It's slow.
By the time you get the whole the circus organised and on the market, and 4 weeks later, it's the slowest way to sell a property.
Leanne, you've opened a can of worms. Why do you think that these properties should be auctioned? I just want to know.
Because if they're selling so fast and if you've got people wanting to actually hear from you before they go on to social so they don't miss out, I would have to wonder whether competition would actually get a better price.
Okay. So here's what I know with a lot of my pre-market. Here's what I know. The buyer, I know the demographic now because I've done so many of these. The buyer is always the burnt buyer that has just kept missing out at an auction.
Right.
They keep missing out on property. And so they're red hot, they're roaring and they're ready to go. And that is why they will pay a premium. They know they're paying a premium for the property before it actually does launch out to realestate.com and potentially go to auction. So they'll pay the knock your socks off offer on the property to stop it from going any further onto those portals.
Well, you've got to also, I know time's ticking, but you've also got to consider that why would we think that if we pull someone out and stretch them out over 7 days and 14 days and 28 days, that necessarily they are going to compete actively and well. They may think too much. They may become disinterested. They may not turn up or whatever because they've been.
They might get caught up in the emotion. I mean, I don't know. We could probably argue about this for another half an hour.
You may snap them on the pre-market. They pay an absolute premium. At the end of the day, whether you go long, whether you go short, whether you go hard, whether you go soft, how do you know it's the best? I don't know.
Just before we wrap up, I want to give you an example because this just happened on Saturday. I had a buyer who missed out on a property that I sold last week. That sold very, very quickly as well. That was going to auction, sold for a premium price. Now, he then saw a property that I won't say where because it is under contract at the moment. He saw a property, launched out to my social media. I was calling him anyway, but social's so instant and fast. It's often quicker than a phone call. He straight away called me and said, "What's this one?" I said, "Glad that you called because I was going to bring you straight through it." He walked through the property on Saturday and said, "This is it. I'm buying this. What do I need to do?" I said, "You got to give me a knock your socks off offer that will stop it from going any further." And he said, "Tell me what I got to do." And so that's exactly what it was. And so that property went under contract within hours. And that's the kind of style of you know, what I see with those pre-markets. And also, Leanne, just quickly flipping it to the vendor, why would the vendor want to sell a property cheaply or for a price that they're just okay with when we can just take a bit of money and get onto the portals?
Well, I think you're a trusted advisor, right? So you are going to advise your vendors, and every agent should do the same thing, of the best way to get the best price in your local market. And every market is different, every agent is different, but you've just got to be able to tell the story and you've got to be able to deliver the results and demonstrate the results so that your vendors know that the strategy that you are demonstrating is tried and true.
Without a doubt. And, you know, there have been times as well, just on the flip side, where I've said to the vendor, "You know what, I think we'll get more money if we throw the net out. Let's just take $4,000 or $5,000 and go to the realestate.com portals."
Which is exactly what you just said.
Without it. Of course, we're the advisors. No agent wants to buy a property cheaply, without a doubt.
That's for sure.
Guys, I hope we have covered some of this mystique around this new off-market fad, which I don't think is a fad. I think it's a turning point in our industry, Leanne.
Huge, yeah.
And I think it's exciting. I'm really excited. I think a bit of disruption's good, right?
Yep.
Never hurt anyone.
Yes, absolutely. John's got something to say.
John.
Well, John,
yeah, exactly, John. It is. It's completely up to the vendor how they want to proceed. And you know what? If an agent came to me and said, "Hey, Leanne, we're just going to do a quick social campaign, pre-market campaign, and just see what level of interest there is out there," I would go, "You know what? Okay, I don't want to go through the whole experience. I just don't. It's a stressful time.
Correct. Yeah.
Selling a property. So I think it's a great option. Pre-market.
Why not dip your toes in, test the waters. Yep. We've always got a great plan B strategy, which is, you know, the authentic style of marketing, which is wonderful. It's a really good plan B strategy, but that's good. Yep. I reckon we've nailed it. I love that.
Can I say something about you, Madam President?
Sure.
I've been an agent for 30 years and you're my favourite.
Oh, thank you.
I think you're a lot of people's favourites.
Yep.
The industry loves you, Leanne.
This is the biggest asset class in our country. You are in Sydney, New South Wales, the biggest state by value in the country, and you are representing a hell of a lot of people, and you do an amazing job at it with tenants, with landlords, with buyers, with sellers. You're the person on the front and you've done a hell of a job, and you should be thanked, even just to sit with two loser 100%. Real estate agents from DY.
I'll speak for yourself.
Please, come on.
On a Monday night about topics that are up and coming and important.
On my first day back from holidays as well.
I know.
On a Monday night. Oh my goodness.
You know, thank you so much. And on behalf of ourselves, and I think I could say on the industry as well, you're doing an amazing job, and
without a doubt,
you're awesome.
Yeah, thank you, Leanne. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Always happy to be here for you guys anytime.
Thank you. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great night. Enjoy that whiskey. I know it's hiding down there on your. I know it's hiding down there. It's all good. You're after hours. Another one.
Okay. All right. Don't forget, guys. Tomorrow morning, 7:45. We've got our morning minutes tomorrow morning. Keep an eye out. I know Leanne watches it every single day at 7:45. And we'll be signing off on that. And have a great night. Thank you.
See you guys. Thanks, Leanne.
See ya.
Bye. See ya. Bye.